Let's take a call.
Sure. Hey, Rachel in Tampa, how are you?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Thanks for waiting.
Yeah, I've been listening to you guys talking while I've been on the call. So,
So,
yeah.
did you have a question for us?
Yeah, I have a question. I know it's a little off topic from
That's fine.
what you guys are talking about today. So I've been an atheist for a couple of years, and I'm not living with my parents anymore, but I was wondering, because I know that you come from a very religious background, and I was wondering if you could give advice on telling like religious family members you're an atheist.
Yeah, I think so we've compared this to coming out as gay before. There's a number of suggestions that I always make. Number one, you have to make a decision that you're okay with the consequences, which may mean, which may include no longer associating with people. That's a possible consequence that some people go through. So you have to be okay with the consequences. If you do decide that you're going to come out, first of all, Greta Christina has written a book based on like 400 coming out stories and experiences that people had. And you can find that, and she gives a lot of good recommendations. But the ones that I tend to tell people are, I don't recommend doing a big sit down and making a big deal out of it. Like, oh, I've got something to tell you, because that gives it an ominous nature when there's nothing about this that should be ominous, even though they think it probably is. I've told people also, if you just, instead of saying, oh, hey, I'm an atheist, if you just start being yourself, eventually people are going to notice things and start asking questions. And then you can say, yeah, I don't believe that. I used to believe that stuff. I don't anymore. And that is a lot easy. It's a way to ease into the conversations, because they didn't they're not saying, oh my gosh, you are a completely different person. And what it does is it says, there's something different. Let me ask about it. And it allows them to hang on to the relationship while having conversations which lead to an understanding, rather than walking in saying, I'm an atheist, your religion is stupid. All of the things that people might tend to do if you're having a debate with someone, you want them to offer a defense. You don't want them to become defensive, because that's a barrier to the communication. And I would say the same thing for coming out. You want to try to get them to understand where you're at, so that you can maintain a relationship or shift it in a new direction. Instead, if you just make a big deal out of it, or do something brusque, you're probably making it more difficult to maintain those relationships.
Okay, cool. I mean, with the whole like topic and everything, I'm probably gonna go to hell anyway, but that's for a different reason.
You're probably not, because there's no place like that.
Well, I mean, yeah, I know, but from hearing about the different passages and everything, I have a mental disability, so those are touched by the devil. So even if I was a Christian, I go to hell by default anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
and that makes your actual situation harder, because it gives them an out. So when you're having a conversation, I hear from teenagers where parents say, oh, it's just a phase, you're just rebellious, blah, blah, blah. And if you have someone who has mental issues, then they're going to blame that. Oh, well, that's what's wrong with you. Or you've got sin in your life.
The funny thing is, it was taboo when I was growing up, and they didn't really address it. And then, like, my dad has all these health problems, and then my mom would always say, like, you can't have an argument with your dad because he has all these health problems. That's my thing. But yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Did you have anything to add on the whole coming out thing?
Well, a couple things. If you avoid the word atheism, that probably helps, because it's kind of an emotionally charged word for a lot of folks.
Yeah, I usually try to say non-religious.
Yeah, or I don't believe, or those sorts of things. You can say you're a skeptic or whatever. I think atheism is a good label to give yourself, and maybe not something for others to label you, if that makes sense. Another thing I would add is when you are kind of first coming out as an atheist and you're sort of saying, well, you know, this old part of me doesn't exist anymore. You know, I've got a bit of a new identity. It becomes kind of the new toy in the toy box, and it's very exciting, and it's something that's maybe disproportionately important for a while in your life. And I think the thing to be careful of is to say, is to come across that, oh, I'm very different now because I'm atheist. I think you want to emphasize the commonalities you have with your family and the things that matter, the traditions and things that you have. Those are still going to be there, and they're still very important regardless of whether you believe or not. And you know, sometimes it takes 5 or 6 years, I think, to go through the initial coming out and, oh, this is exciting and whatever, and eventually it sort of becomes an integral part of your identity and is just another aspect of you, like, you know, being a woman or whatever, right? Whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And I'm also on the subject of labels, and I'm pretty sure that Don's in agreement. If he's not, he can say so. When each of us suggest using other language other than the A word, we're talking about this in the initial conversations. Yeah. We are not discouraging people from using. I want as many people identifying as atheists as are willing to do so, but you get to choose what to label yourself, and you get to make decisions about how you're going to have these conversations. Yeah. And the word is charged and may work against you in the initial conversations, and then once people kind of, you know, get a feel for it and you've gotten past the initial stages, then by all means, you know. But I find that most of the time I don't actually have to label myself in conversations. We're talking about ideas, and so if I on airplanes, for example, I've done a lot of flying this year. And my friend JT had talked about, you know, there's sometimes when you sit down in an airplane and the first thing somebody's going to sitting next to you is going to ask is, you know, what do you do for a living? And sometimes he wants to have the conversation and say, hey, I'm an atheist blogger, blah, blah, blah. And other times he doesn't. And, you know, I joked that, you know, when I don't want to talk to him about it, I just tell him I'm a porn star and they shut up. Turns out that's not always what happens. Sometimes they are really interested and ask questions about me being a porn star.
Yeah.
But when I'm asked, it's like, hey, what do you do for a living? Oh, I produce videos where I teach people how to have conversations and arguments about religious issues and philosophy and atheism. And I put all of those words in there. And then it's on them to make an assumption about what my actual position is. You know, they're not immediately, oh my gosh, I'm sitting next to Satan incarnate. It's, oh really? What do you mean by that? Well, you know, we've been having these arguments forever. There's a number of different dominant. You go down this path and they become familiar with your position, and your position is more important than your label. The label's the shortcut that we use, you know, when we're taking a census and trying to talk about how many non-believers or atheists there are. It may not be all that important in one-on-one conversations or family conversations. It could be more harm than good in some of them, but it could also be really useful later on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's like a lot of stuff in that.
Yeah.
All right, Rachel.
All right. Thanks so much for the call.
Oh, thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
All right. Good luck to you.